Thank you for joining me today in celebration of the life and the sacrifice of one Rexplode. I have prepared a poem in his honor. This is for you, Rex. Now that you're gone, life is nothing but doom. In a world of no sarcasm, no laughter, no boom, the world is dark and dank and eroded. One single charge and my heart Rexploded. You gave your whole life, and they called you names like a hypocrite. Well, clean the blood off the wall, cause Rex, damn it, you've earned it! You may enter the heavens, like you were waiting for your cue. Shine bright up above, like your boomsticks do. You didn't have to be better, because you set the principle. Your name will live on, because Rexplode is...
Wow. Thank you for those amazingly heartfelt words as we all grieve Rexplode. Thank you,
every
TJ.
word.
Moving.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends get to talk all things Invincible, a comic book and animated series by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. On this episode, we do a full breakdown of episode 7. We go over our doodles. We have predictions for the finale, which we have not watched yet as of this recording. We have a few listener emails to go over, and we have the latest Invincible news to go over, as well as a new Guarding the Globe code for you all. I am one of your hosts, Bill, and with me today, I got to go with TJ first, the sweet one. How are you feeling after that, TJ? You feeling okay?
Not too sweet today, Bill. Not too sweet today. Bittersweet. Bittersweet.
Okay, we'll get it through. We'll get through it together. And to help you get through it, TJ, our other co-hosts, we have Wyatt.
Hey guys, I'm happy to be here. You know, even as tragic as it may be.
Yeah, and Ryan also. Thanks for being with us today.
Hello, everybody. We are here. We are on the other side of the Invincible War. Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about it, you guys. Crazy.
Yeah. What an amazing place to be, guys. It feels like we've been talking about this and the potential of this in like some sort of like movie animated show, and we got it. It was incredible. Welcome, first of all, new listeners, if anyone is new. We do kind of go over spoilers, especially when we get into our predictions, because we know what would happen in the comic book. So we do like to talk about what we think is going to happen.
For the most part, we avoid any comic book spoilers, especially far out into the comic series. Towards the end of the episode, there might be some loose ones based on what we know to come, but otherwise, you're safe. Go read the comic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So a really cool thing we did last week, we did one of our live streams, and it was a fantastic one. So you guys can go onto our YouTube channel and check that out if you wanted to read through all of the hundreds of thousands of comments that there were during the live chat. And we are going to do another live stream. We don't know exactly when yet, but it is going to be after the finale. So tune in. It's a lot of fun. We try to interact with the chat as much as humanly possible. Yeah, it was overwhelming. You guys were great. Honestly, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody that joined. We had a blast.
And if I sound nasally, it's because I was laughing so hard during TJ's eulogy that I was weeping. Like
I don't understand. I mean, it wasn't. It's a very serious thing, Bill. Disrespectful.
All right. So first and foremost, we always like to go over Invincible news. So let's see. Episode 7 is out now, obviously.
6. Well, yeah, 7 is out now.
Yeah. So there's the poster. The comic to screen
Or
was
this is so 7 is out now, but
Yeah.
let's talk about 6. The poster for 6 is out.
Because 6
Okay,
just came out.
Yeah.
that I was confused about. This is the whole time travel thing that I'm not good
it
at.
is.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
So since
and-
the last recording, episode 6 came out, and we got the poster and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
From our perspective, obviously we're here to talk about episode
episode
7, but at that point we didn't have the poster yet when we recorded episode 6, so this is the poster, and it's awesome. I really like how they just like took this straight from the episode itself. It's not
Mhm.
like, because past ones were just a bundle of different characters that were kind of behind each other. This is
Yeah.
just straight from the episode, which I really liked.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense for the episode feeling very singular about Powerplex and Invincible to have the poster reflect that too. Very cool.
Yeah, right on.
We've also got
Oh my
plenty of
God.
memes going around of Powerplex.
The
Oh,
memes are
good.
so great. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, right.
I also, I
to
love.
Chris,
Yeah, that's awesome.
The artist that actually drew. Remember that doodle on the whiteboard?
Yeah.
He got to do like a finished version of it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
so great.
cool.
I saw
this was a-
one of the I think I sent you guys some TikToks or whatever they were of like Battle Beast walking out into the crowd, and like they put Battle Beast over top of their bodies, and it was Powerplex over top of Aaron Paul's body, and it was that actual scene from
Oh, cool.
he can't keep getting away with this. He
Oh,
can't
nice.
keep getting away with this.
Yeah,
Very cool.
it's very, very cool. And we also got a episode 7 teaser video. I'm surprised they even did a teaser or trailer for it. They could
This
have
was
just
perfect.
left
Nope.
it alone.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows. And this was the very opening practically of the episode.
Yeah.
If anything, if they had to do anything, this was it, and they nailed it.
Yeah.
If they had to do anything, this is what they should have done. I
Yeah,
agree,
it was-
100%.
And if you didn't see it, it was just the portals opening up, a bunch of Invincibles flying out, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very cool. Like it's obviously that big shot that was also a cover, right? That's the like 2-page spread. Of all of
Yeah,
them
it was
flying
the
out. It's
very
sort
end,
of
60.
the show adaptation of that. And so it was cool to basically just have a teaser that just gives enough to be like, we're doing the Invincible War, and you're gonna see some big moments that you expect from the comic. Like, yeah, they held back plenty, especially as we're about to get into. This episode is so packed full of things that they could have thrown in a teaser. I'm very glad they didn't.
Oh yeah. Again, I didn't think they even needed to. They could have probably gotten away with it, but cool. So, following up with that news, we also have a new Guarding the Globe code. So we've partnered with Ubisoft Barcelona Mobile to celebrate season 3 with our own reward codes for Invincible Guarding the Globe. So the game's latest updates include a special shop that includes technologists, which include Robot, Doc, Seismic, and Powerplex.
Yep. Another shot at getting Powerplex, which was last week's
Nice.
new
Right
hero.
on. A new Cecil's Nightmare where you face off against a bunch of Invincibles in the desert location, which is fucking sick.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's too cool.
Smart.
And the
That
code
was
for
really
this
cool.
week that you can redeem at redeem.invincible.ubisoft.barcelona is Bill S3. For those of you that are watching, it is going along the bottom of the screen right now.
Any
Bill S3.
any guesses, Bill, as to what that will unlock?
I'm gonna
I have a
guess,
guess.
Tether Tyrant.
I have
Tether
a guess.
Tyrant.
Yes, it is a
Oh, is
copy
it?
of Tether Tyrant. But you know what? Can't just have Tether Tyrant by himself.
Yeah.
So it's Tether Tyrant and Meg
And
Lady.
Meg.
nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please redeem your code right away. All right. So let's see here. So first we're going to go over some emails that we got, and we're going to go over 4. We did get a bunch that are going to be on the live stream that we do after
really
the
great
season
emails, too.
finale. Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep them
Really
coming.
fast.
Again, we do read them all. Like I said, any that we don't get today, we're going to try to read on the live as well. So, Wyatt, I think you have the first one.
I do. This says Yo, Invincible Pod. Haha, didn't think I'd make it here. Not gonna take up too much of y'all's time, but just wanted to say, y'all boys the truth. not gonna lie, you guys should call yourselves the most underrated podcast in the universe because you guys are literally the definition of a superhero podcast without the recognition. It's crazy. Y'all got the chemistry, the longevity, etc. I swear, one viral moment for y'all and it's over. But besides that, y'all funny as F. I love y'all Doodles. NBS?
No bullshit.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay. All right.
That's the best segment, and I can't wait to see y'all break down these last 2 episodes and the seasons to come. Please, we need season 4 title predictions soon as this season ends. I think that's a great idea. I think y'all got one right this season. I don't know. LOL. I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't know about
Not even one.
I've been checking and seeing if any of them are familiar, and I think we're 0 for 8 there.
Yeah.
This is pretty much the only TV show and podcast I watch, and y'all's podcast just feels like a special edition of the show. So appreciate it. Just some quick questions and thoughts. Let me know if y'all like this email. I'll write more. All love. I gotta say, 10 out of 10 so far.
This is great.
Number 1, if there are different versions of Mark, Omni-Man, Angstrom, doesn't that mean there are other versions of Conquest, Thrag? That would be pretty scary to see. Yeah, I mean, we
might see some of that.
True. 2, there should be one special episode per season. Season 1 should have been Omni-Man, seeing his whole history. Season 2 was Adam Eve. Season 3 should be Rexplode. Season 4 should be Argyle, etc. Could you all come up with more?
Yeah, are you kidding me? Fucking Wolfman, fucking
all the cameos in this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Them all in an episode.
I like the idea of one whether it's like season 5 or 6 or whatever, being a guarding the globe kind of episode of just all of them. That would be very cool.
Number 3, he says, what's y'all favorite fight scene from these first 22 episodes?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Man, that is tough.
I think that one that always stands out to me is the fight on Thraxa between Mark and Thula.
Yeah.
The knife, and when he finally kind of gets enough of it, and also when is it Lucian or Lucan?
Yeah.
Just takes his finger and pushes Mark by his face. Like that whole scene felt like it had a lot of weight to it. And but there's also one in this episode that
I was gonna say the episode you're talking about is what I would at least previously say was my favorite episode of the whole show so far. And that fight scene I would say is one of the best. I think just an individual fight scene. I think Mark and Angstrom in this episode is probably my favorite. I could say Nolan and Mark in the finale of season 1. That's not really a fight. That's a beating. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wouldn't call that a fight as much as it's just Omni-Man teaching him a lesson.
I've got the answer, but I'm sorry. But the right answer is Adam Eve on the bridge.
Ooh, that one is great.
Oh yeah,
that one is great.
Her special episode.
Yeah,
it's the best, quote unquote fight scene. Not the best episode, not the best. It's an incredible episode, but the choreography of that fight scene is incredible.
Yeah,
TJ's gonna say the Lizard
I'm excited to keep talking about this episode though, because I would argue that this one is up there too.
I mean, the answer is, and I'm not gonna say Lizard League, Bill, but I mean, I'll start with the obvious because it has become iconic and it's built Invincible's name off of this fight. Omni-Man beating the fuck out of Mark. I mean, I don't know if you could call that a fight, but if we are, that's it. Yeah. However, I will call out. This is Rexplode's episode, so I'm going to do it. Rexplode versus Octoboss. He was so jumpy
cool
and just throwing shit.
Spider-Man Dragon Ball Blast at the end of it. Very cool,
dude.
Yeah. And also Nolan versus the Guardians in episode 1 has to be up there too. That's
dude. That may be more iconic, Wyatt. Yeah. That may be a better answer.
100%. Yeah.
Ranking your favorite fight scenes might be an episode over the summer.
Yeah.
For sure. They also ask, do we have a super hot take for the season finale? Any super hot
We'll
takes?
save it for the end.
Oh yeah, we got to
we'll
save
save
it.
that
We
for
gotta
the end.
save it.
And then he puts number 5. If we see Dinosaurus before the season ends, Wyatt gets a pizza. I don't really know why.
Wyatt gets a pizza?
I know I've come around on that idea, and I'm a little more aligned with you now. And that was from Malik, Malik. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thanks the
so
email.
much.
We
Thank
did
you. That
like
was a
your
good one.
emails, so feel free to write more or come hang out in the next live chat that we do.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Can we have
TJ?
Wyatt? Can we have Wyatt read all of his emails going forward? I hope he writes in more.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
in charge of his
Wyatt
emails.
to read all of them.
I'm down for that. I'm
As
down
I
for
was reading that one ahead of time, I put it in. I'm like, this one's Wyatt. Yep.
that. I loved it.
Nice.
Loved it.
All right, TJ,
all right.
you're up.
Yeah, so I have the next one from Jack. He says, "Hey boys, hope all is well. Killer job so far this season, and just a quick hit from me. Can we talk about how fucking awesome the title card was during Powerplex's monologue? I think I've rewatched it 75 times since my first watch of episode 6. That got me fired up, man. My favorite episode fluctuates a lot, but as of right now, that might be one of one. The draw-in at the beginning was amazing, and I can't believe they made me like Powerplex. I can't wait to reread his issues with Aaron Paul's voice in my head. Go Bills. Oh, gross. We all live in Buffalo except for Wyatt, but I'm a Dolphins
I thought
fan,
you were going to read it and say, go Dolphins, Jack.
So Jack says, fins up, Jack.
Jack is local. We got to hang out with Jack sometime.
Oh, cool.
He missed out on the last meetup that we did.
I thought he lived in LA.
Why is that?
Jack Nicholson, doesn't he
Oh,
live up on
you're right.
the... Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it.
That's
Bill.
cool that he's a fan. I know.
Yeah.
Jack Quaid. Maybe, you don't know.
Dennis
Oh,
Quaid's
Jack
son.
Quaid's
Yeah.
name.
All right. So I'll take this next one. Hey, the Invincible podcast. This is Sam. Famous last name.
Rockwell.
L. Jackson.
Rockwell.
Ooh.
Or
Rockwell.
Fisher if we want to make him a fictional famous person. Can't
There
wait
you
for a
go.
new Splinter Cell. I can read it and like Jeremy, what's his name?
Please do.
Jeremy, it's not Jeremy Irons, is it?
No.
Sam Fisher's no. This is my first time emailing since the season started, and what a season it has been. I think episodes 2, 4, and 6 especially are exactly what we want from an adaptation. Taking the best parts of the comic and making it better for a larger audience. For episode 6 specifically, I think the pacing and structure watching Scott spiral out of control with Becky pushing further down was done beautifully. Powerplex is what I consider the perfect quote-unquote villain of the week. Shows up a handful of times, but his story sticks with you long after you read/watch it. I also have been loving the way the blue suit looks in motion, especially when Mark is flying in the bright blue sky. It just looks really good. I'm going to cherish it for as long as we get it. Haha. One of my favorite things about this season has been how involved Eve has been with the Grayson family. I don't remember her spending so much time with Oliver and Debbie in the comic. Her helping train Oliver and the conversation after the elephant is one of my favorite scenes. I'm also glad they explained why Oliver looks up to Nolan so much, since I saw many show-only watchers confused about him looking up to Nolan since he was only a baby on Thraxa. Agreed. Here's my doodle for episode 6. Mark's facepalm. Do we have it pulled up?
Here we go.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
That's
That's
awesome.
very good.
That is so good.
That is really, really
When
good.
Oliver is beating up the elephant and we
Yeah.
need more listener doodles, come on, people. Episode 7 and 8, there are going to be so many moments that are worthy. Love, Sam Rockwell.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. Awesome
Feel
doodle.
free to send in your doodles, guys. We'll put them
Yeah.
on the episode. I mean, I know we only got one more breakdown, but we'll still share them.
Yeah. Ryan,
All
do you
right.
want to take this last email?
I've got the fine one right here. Hello, Invincible Podcast. Fairly recent listener, longtime comic lover, first time emailer. I found you guys after season 2 of the show was released, and I love the podcast. The dynamic you guys have is unmatched, and I love it. You're all so knowledgeable about the comics and the Invincible universe, and I love hearing your guys' breakdowns of the episodes. You guys almost always point out something that I did not pick up during my watch. I really enjoyed the live stream you guys did last Saturday and enjoyed the discussions about the show and the future of the show in the spoiler section. Cannot wait until the next one. I also can't wait until Thursday's episode. And of course, we can all assume next week will be Mr. 10 Times Worse. Initially, I did not give much thought when they gender swapped Ray, but after seeing her and Rex's relationship grow, I have a feeling that his death in the next episode is going to hurt so much more. And I think I may just cry. Anyway, I cannot wait for the new
Not the
episode
only
on
one.
Thursday and coming along with it, your breakdown. Thank you guys so much for all you do. You're all great. And remember, stay awesome. Much love, Matthew Broderick. No.
Oh, thanks, Matt. I loved you in Godzilla.
Of all the movies. So many options.
All right, thanks again, guys. You can write to us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Please keep the emails coming. You can tweet at us over there. You can comment us on YouTube, all that good stuff. So are you guys ready for the
So
main
ready.
topic?
I've
All
been
right.
ready.
Been
forever.
ready.
So we are going to recap episode 307. What have I done? Ryan, do you have? Here you go. Dear God, what have I done? It's Cecil saying it from. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's not from
It's
the
your
Invincible
50th.
War, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of crazy.
Here
This
we
is the
go.
first time that they've really jumped like kind of far away from
Yeah.
from where the episode, like what the episode's adapting. And it makes sense that like obviously 7 and 8, they did not send these ones out initially as screeners to people. They've been keeping these ones, a little more under wraps. So it would make sense that they maybe didn't want to give an episode title that might give too much away. But yeah, I think you mentioned it when we first saw what it was, Ryan, that like what a perfect title for an episode where Mark is seeing a bunch of versions of himself
Right.
do terrible, terrible things.
So we could maybe save it for the prediction section at the end, but do we think this breaks the trend that from now on the episode titles, if they got
No.
like, and did they do that in case it got leaked that like, oh, maybe the season ends with episode 50, or you know what I mean?
No, I
Why?
don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that that's necessarily why they did it. I think if nothing else, it was just like we said, one, it fits really well with this title, and because I feel like with all of the marketing, I think they had to have known that people would expect the issue 50 Cecil stuff to happen earlier than that. I don't think it was their way to try and make you think
True.
that was coming later, because even like, especially with that happening in episode essentially 1 and 2. I think they just knew that they needed to keep it somewhat vague and maybe not from the Invincible War, just so people wouldn't. But then again, like I feel like since the season started, I've been seeing TikToks and posts of people being like, we're getting the Invincible War and we're getting Conquest, and that's a sure thing. And I've like tried to ease expectations just to make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself. But yeah, I don't think this necessarily breaks the trend, especially since it's still a line from the comic, within 10, 12 issues of where we're
Okay.
at right now.
Okay.
I think we'll see it continue relatively the same into future seasons.
Yeah.
You just don't want dinosaurs to show up next episode. Because the title is from the dinosaurs issue. But I digress. So this episode comes in at 49 minutes long, which puts us kind of at the longer end of it. It's between 47 and 53 minutes.
Yeah, I think Powerplex last week was around 52, 53, right?
Yeah. So this episode was written by none other than Robert Kirkman himself.
Wow.
No, what has
What
he
a
done?
guy.
He did the series premiere. He did the premiere and the finale for season 1, and then the finale for season 2.
I think so, yeah.
So this would be the 4th one.
I think so.
This
Yeah,
motherfucker
I'd
just
have to look back.
loves to kill Rexplode.
Yeah. He's like, I want another go at it. I want another
Oh my
go at it. I
God.
can make it worse.
What
You know what?
a
I think-
terrible human being.
I think he did an even better job this time. You know what I mean? He only gets better at killing Rex. Flood.
Couldn't wait.
That's true.
Hopefully, he can do it again someday.
yeah.
Awesome. And this was directed by Haley Herrick. So she also directed the Adam Eve special,
No way.
Ooh.
which was very cool. And she also directed episode 205, which is This Comes as a Shock. And she also wrote Deal with the Devil, episode 2 of this season,
that's
which
the one that I read.
is people's favorite.
Nice.
All right. So before we get into it, initial impressions, I think they're all kind of the same,
Ooh.
right?
I mean, I said it right after we watched it, and I think it still holds true that I think this was one of the best pieces of like media I've ever watched, movie, TV show, because, and I know that sounds like dramatic or whatever, but because this has so much means so much more to us as such longtime huge fans of this, that not only was it amazing, but because it had that extra weight behind it, it was unlike anything else we've ever done. Like Katie told me afterwards, she's like, you were making noises in there. Like, we were freaking the fuck out watching this episode. It completely blew us away. And I mean, I kept trying to think of things that like if something is just so good, it makes the tiny little things that you might not like maybe stick out a little bit more. So I try to think of things, and I'm like, there's really not much that I see wrong about this episode. Like, this is a perfect episode, and I was blown away with how they pulled this off.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way going into this episode. Like when Powerplex ended with that tease and we knew we're going into the Invincible War likely next episode, I don't think I felt like such a pressure on the show since the finale of season 1, of knowing that like this moment is so big and it means so much, not just to like us, the fans of the comic, but it means so much in the story and the way that it changes the story and like what happens going forward, that I was nervous about how they were going to adapt it in the show. Like, is it really going to feel as impactful and as like monumental as it really felt in the comics? And because I just couldn't really imagine what that looks like for the show, like how that translates. And from the start, we were just screaming, shouting, our mouths hanging open in shock, and like to have finished it and just been like, they did it. Like, I can't believe they did it, and they nailed it beyond like what I could have expected them to do. I could not be happier. I keep thinking of the Michael Jordan meme of him hugging the trophy, being like, I used to pray for times like this. Like, it feels like I can't believe it's real. Like, it's so crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on as soon as the episode ended on our reacts, like, this, I think, is going to go down as that episode of Invincible. It is like Ozymandias or The Fly from Breaking Bad. It's the Body from Buffy, which is, I reference that because it's my favorite show. Like, it's going to be the standout episode. I mean, maybe not, but I mean, it definitely is as of right now for me. And I was so happy with it and sad and just literally every emotion from beginning to end. Like, I knew it was coming. We've read the comic, right? I knew it was coming. Didn't know it was going to hit that hard.
It hit
and
hard.
I legit cried. Cried.
Yeah.
Like, I watched it since then and I've cried. Like, it was, oh my God. Like, putting that fucking Billie Eilish song.
That's cheating.
Yeah, that was
so mean. It's so mean.
That's why Kirkman, when he was like, listen, I got to write this one. I've got a really good idea.
I know exactly how to make TJ cry.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to do this.
Yeah. It was the perfect episode.
I will sum my feelings up in
a poem.
In 3 words or 4 words. Wolfman, Tech Jacket, and fucking Best Tiger. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, man.
I can't
believe it.
It's not even fair. Like, I couldn't even fucking watch the rest of the show because it was just like 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I didn't even have time to breathe.
Yeah,
I was like choking. Unreal. It was great. Here's the thing, guys. It is going to be very tough to top this episode with the next one, and that says a lot because that says a lot.
But dude, also you mentioned like the 3 because they were all together. We got Capes. We got Brit.
We got Brit.
We got like It was just constant.
We got that little kid in a tuxedo that got smushed by the big thing. Like, I loved him. I love that little kid.
Kahor.
Yeah.
Dude, it's insane.
Everything.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. So it starts with a flashback to the season finale of season 2 of Mark walking through the desert and wiping blood off of his face. Angstrom opens up the portal and you see his face. So disgusting.
Yeah.
So much grosser than I thought that it was going to be. And the worst part about it, for some reason, so he opens up the portal to the technicians and they see his hand, and then you just see him get dragged through it, which was it was just so gross. I was like, be careful with your head. Like, your face is everywhere.
You're leaving some of your brain back there, surely, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't like that his jaw kind of split into mandibles.
It was two pieces, and when he was trying to talk, and
his tongue's like all out hair and stuff like that. It was great. It was as disgusting as I hoped it was going to be. And then you get his gross fix me, and the technicians are looking over him. They look great, by the way. Love the technicians. Cannot wait to talk more about them. I'm gonna have fucking nightmares. So we get a an eerily silent many months later, and it's just up in the sky, and the portals open up, and all of them fly out
like super fast too.
Yeah,
right?
and they go, and then they
threatening. Yeah,
it literally shocked me. I'm like, oh shit! Like, here we go. Like, what the fuck? There was
didn't waste a minute. Didn't waste a second. So then you get Angstrom in all of his new teched out glory, where he goes on his speech, and we get the title card, make them hate Invincible.
It goes to black and yellow.
And I believe, I can't remember if it was on our last episode or on a different time, but I remember calling that they were going to do title card when Angstrom said, make them fear Invincible, make them hate Invincible. So I was very excited about that.
And we get an awesome day one moment. And you know when that happened, we're like, oh no, we're in for a ride.
Yeah,
they wouldn't just do that if there was one.
Yeah. No one ever tells you it's day one if it's just a 1-day event.
That would be kind of funny if they did that, though. Now that I'm thinking about it. Let's see here. So we get Angstrom talking.
I liked seeing all of them, hit the pose that they do.
Yeah.
Like Wyatt said, on that issue 60 variant cover, or when you turn the page and see them all coming out of it, the Invincible Invincible Twitter account showed like the side by side of the two of them. Like, so great.
Yeah, very cool. So Angstrom pretty much explains how he got all these marks in a very quick dialogue beat where he says, do this for me and you will all get everything you've ever wanted. Which we find out a little bit more about that, which I like too. We get a somber moment with Mark laying on his bed with Eve, and he's just very, very sad, reminiscing about Powerplex and how
they tied this directly in. Like,
it was great. It was great. Like, villain of the week. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this had major repercussions on Mark leading up to this episode and all the way through it and all the way up until the very end, the last moment that he had with Angstrom.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what? It's not my fault that like me and my dad's fight killed his family. And it's not my fault that the fight between he and I like killed his wife and his kid. Like, he's like, it is my fault. And Eve's phone goes off. Oh no. First she cancels dinner with the family. Mm-hmm. So and it's like, she was kind of like looking for an excuse. Like, she was like, yeah, okay, we don't have to do dinner with my parents.
It's done.
Yeah. And Mark, understandably, is a little like, what the hell, man? Like, they were over Eve's house, by the way. And he's like, I'm only over here when they're not home. And you always reschedule dinner, cancel dinner. And it was like one of those moments where she's like, it's not you, it's them. Mm-hmm. So,
and she says, like, you wouldn't understand. He's like, me not understand having bad parents? Like, really? Wow, way to go straight for a guy's, sore spot. Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
And also, sorry to cut you off, I love also Eve's phone ringing. It's the Invincible theme. It's like a little cell phone version of it. It's like boo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and then she answers it.
I completely forgot about that. And I remember the first time we watched it, think to myself, man, we got to find a way to get that little chip tune so that we can have our own.
We need that as a ringtone. Yeah.
We need that as a ringtone. Somebody.
Wouldn't that be cool if they gave us a code for like a ringtone, and it was that
that'd be great.
ringtone? That'd be fun,
Really
right?
cool.
Like an official Invincible ringtone. Anyway, so Eve gets a call from the prison, and she's like, "What?" And then it snapshots to Mohawk
go.
Mark going through the prison, destroying it. This is what you call a prison on your planet, and we get a montage. So we get an Invincible destroying London, Russia. We get the one with the googly eyes and the scar and stuff like that, saying after being held in a Viltrumite prison for a year, I could really use the warm up. What do you think he did to be held?
I'm so fascinated by this guy. And
I love
what
him.
happened to him.
Like, I remember when
one of my favorites.
when we saw him in the comic, it was just kind of like a weird mutated Mark. But now we got like a little tidbit. I'm like, wait, so were the Viltrumites good in his reality? And like he was bad?
I think he says something similar in the Invincible War too. I remember a lot of these lines, like the one we'll get to in a minute with Wolfman is also one that was in the Invincible War too. But yeah, I love that. It's such a perfect tease of like, what do you mean by that? Like, it makes you just want to know more about that particular Mark.
So, Wyatt, I think it's New York. Is it New York or is it like Seattle?
It's New York.
Is it New
Yeah,
York?
I think it's New York.
So you get New York, and you get Wolfman, and which Mark was this? This was
Viltrumite.
Oh, this
Mark?
was Viltrumite Mark, not mustache,
No
but
mustache,
just with the garb. And he says, "I killed you before, and I can do it again." And we get an amazing shot of Wolfman and him plummeting down, fighting midair. Very cool part.
Which is basically that's the stand-in for Spawn, right?
Yes.
Like, cause that same Viltrumite Mark is fighting Spawn and says that line of like, "I killed you before in my universe, and I'll do it again here." So it's cool that Wolfman, being like one of the special cameos of this episode, kind of takes the place of that. Very cool
cameo.
I remember having physical pain when I saw him. Like, you ever get like scared so much that it like literally hurts your chest? That's how I felt. I was like, oh shit, like it fucking like
and then it didn't stop, TJ, because next we get
that was gonna happen.
I know the dot, but Bill, he looked awesome, right? Like he
looked
amazing,
so much better than I could have ever hoped for. They could have gone short snout Wolfman. They could have gone super cartoony Wolfman, but they went. I love long snout Wolfman. He looked yellow eyes.
Yeah.
Perfect symmetry and perfect. It was perfect. Then we go to Japan. I think it's Japan, right?
Maybe.
I think it's Japan or China. It's definitely. I think it's Japan because
there's lots of like
neon.
Don't
get it wrong, Bill.
And we get. I know the hate's coming, and we get Best Tiger.
Oh my god!
Running on a roof, and he's fighting Yellow Cape Mark, and he's like, Best Tiger, and he's like making fun of him. He's like, "How do you plan on taking me down?" And Best Tiger, with a blindfold on, shoots bullets, ricochets, hit him in the chest. And
so good.
Yeah, so awesome.
Dude, for those that don't know about Best Tiger, like, I don't want to talk about it here, but he's such a cool idea of a character. It's so good. He's the best. He is.
I did a Tiger. Yes. And I did a issue highlight.
That's right.
Recently. Of him. So, and it was fantastic. So then we get our third, like, Big Bang, and it's in space, and I knew it was fucking gonna happen. And we see Tech Jacket, guys.
Getting these three, Bill, like, how did you
get those? I don't know. I don't know. In a row?
It didn't go Wolfman, like, oh, really cool that we saw capes, and then like Best Tiger. Like, it was Wolfman, Best Tiger, Tech Jacket.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing.
The three characters that I talk about probably more than my own children. Like, when I like meet somebody new, I'm like, "Hey, have you heard about Wolfman, Tech Jacket, and Best Tiger?" Oh, those are my children, by the way. In a row. It just, we hyperventilated. It was amazing.
And it really, it like, I know that people have talked a lot about the cameos and whether or not we're going to get cameos for the Invincible War. And like the big ones, other than what we got in this episode, being like Spawn or being Savage Dragon, those would have been cool. But I could not be happier that we got the ones that we got. Like,
because that just opens more questions. Like,
exactly.
In universe,
This
like,
feels so
can it come back?
and it is so specific to. I feel like it also are it's 3 perfect examples of, hey, you want to know more about them? There's a perfect avenue to go find them, whether that's the Wolfman comic, whether that's Tech Jacket, whether that's Guarding the Globe. Like, it's such a perfect set of cameos to flesh out the world. And the fact that they held them back until now, that we didn't get them at Doc Seismic's attack in episode 1 as part of these other heroes, which we still see in this episode, is so smart, because like you said, the 3 back-to-back had us be like, oh, Wolfman, just like constantly yelling. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It also opens the door to be like, so what, are they going to be in more?
Yeah.
You know
So-
what I mean?
They have
Like,
to be.
I have thoughts. Best Tiger, probably. Tech Jacket, I would think so, because
That's the best
he is
chance.
a very like big part of the
The
Viltrumite
space
War
stuff.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wolfman, though, they could have given him dialogue. He just roared.
It's the least
And
likely,
I
I know.
They
But
could
here's
have
the
given
thing.
Tech Jacket dialogue.
Here's the
True.
thing. I am not really mad if they don't like I feel so satisfied with just being heard. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
thank
I'm
you
gonna
for showing me.
I'm gonna jump ahead. I know we're not making predictions yet, but I'm gonna jump ahead. So right after Rex Blow's death, the music starts playing, and the first thing they show is Wolfman. Wolfman crawling up from the rubble, looking out and seeing all the destruction. They could have used any character. They used Wolfman. I think he's coming back, and I think that he's going to have voice dialogue in the finale. That's my prediction.
Ooh,
Wow.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
That's
Next
your hot take
episode?
from that email.
episode.
Yeah.
that's nuts.
If
Oh,
he if
a
he and
hot
Dinos-
take.
if
It is
he
a
and
burning
Di-
hot take.
if he and Dinosaurus are helping with the cleanup and they do the
High
predator,
five.
yeah, the predator like arms together, Wolfman, Dinosaurus.
Dinosaurs pushing too many pencils.
You know what? That's gonna be. I'm going to C2E2. That's gonna be my next commission.
Yeah,
Dinosaurus.
great
hits
idea.
Wolfman's arm. Fucking great.
Yes.
TJ, that's a good hot take.
The number of shots this season, even last season, like I just want to start compiling all these shots of like Mark and Eve on the bridge, like from behind, or Wolfman crawling out of the rubble from behind, Powerplex on the rooftop with the smoke. Like
Yeah.
they frame certain shots with someone in the middle so well that those look like incredible stills. I love it.
Even the shots
marks?
of the marks over the
Yes,
seeing their
center.
destruction, center
Yeah.
screen. It was, oh my god, it was awesome. All right, so we get we get Rex and Ray. Rex is helping her move into her apartment, and they have a very, very cute dialogue session where
I almost felt bad because we were like still freaking out from the previous 3 cameos that like this scene is kind of quiet for a minute.
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. And it's nice too because we didn't know from the Powerplex episode if they were going to be together. Like we kind of were like, oh, were they breaking up? And
we
everything
were
like that, but-
we were imagining like what is the most tragic scenario you can put them in, and having a breakup right before that, I think, is where all of our heads were at, and it somehow is more sad. That's like no, they were still gonna make it work. They were still gonna work things out, and he was gonna come over and help her move in, and like
I think
it
the
makes it more
saddest
sad.
We
The saddest-
assumed that Ray was like, take it or leave it. Like you quit or we're not together. But no, they were still together.
Yeah.
She was just quitting and he was fine with it and she was fine with it and it was happy, which sucks.
Yeah. I think the saddest part about this whole thing
I know what
is
you're
that,
saying.
and I'm gonna ruin this for a lot of people. I'm sorry, it's not gonna be as emotional anymore. But Rex died with blue balls, guys. She said,
no.
"Do you know what's an even more better place? My bedroom." And they almost went to town, but an explosion happened. Rex was like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And
Gotta be a hero.
they both suited up, and Rex instantly was like, "You can't unquit."
You can't just say they suited
Oh
up.
yeah, none of this cheapo Marvel nanotech coming all over you. He literally just exploded his clothes off of him in the most badass way ever.
Then
It was very cool.
jumped on top of a trash can, and she's like, "Be careful!" And he's like, "Watch this!" And
Watch
explodes
this
the trash
shit.
can.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so cool.
The last words he ever spoke to Ray, though. We've learned everything from the Scream franchise. You don't say it. I'll be right
I'll
back.
be right back.
Not only that, but like the like golden rule of not coming back is an animated character destroying their clothes. Like,
Yeah.
that's the only thing they wear. Like, you'll never see him in that again. Just like Mark flying into space at the end of season 1. It's like,
Yeah.
there goes that outfit. That's why he hasn't worn his yellow undershirt and blue stripes.
True.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the yellow colored shirt.
Damn
And,
Yeah. I like
blue shirt.
every season. Every season we get kind of like a new casual look for everybody, which I appreciate.
Yeah. We also get "Lay One on Me, Mama" for luck.
Oh,
God,
Is something he really cute. He
they
says to
packed
Ray.
so much into that.
I think that was where Nicole started to tear up because she knew what was coming. She was like, "Oh no, this can't be good."
Yeah. So we get a really cool fight between Mark and Mohawk Mark at the prison.
Oh my God.
And Mohawk Mark is like, "Get the fuck out of here. We're supposed to split up." He's like, "Oh wait, you're actually the one from this universe." And they have a really cool fight. I want to point out the coolest thing about Mohawk Mark's costume, which I saw. Nope.
Is it the zipper? I love that
It's
it's
not
like
the
the
zipper.
collar, the zipper.
It's his hands. His gloves are black and his palms are blue.
Ooh,
Really?
Look at it.
I didn't
It's
notice.
it's such a cool little
That is
thing
cool.
about it. I was like, oh
Uh,
fuck, I love that.
I can't wait for the
Also-
art book.
And like, I feel like this is a good point for us to just bring up the fact
Steven,
that Steven
That's what I was
Yeun,
gonna say.
yeah.
his voice performance in this
Oh my
entire episode,
God.
every time we got a new Mark, you
Yep.
knew it was a different Mark. I could watch this episode without
tell you.
watching it and just listen to it and be like, oh, that's this Mark, because they each have such a distinct voice and attitude, and it's
And it
just
matches.
so perfect. Yeah.
Some of them were a little cartoony, but it works.
Yep.
Like I
Yeah.
think it was supposed to fit. Like
He's
like,
got a
okay, that
mohawk.
guy's
He can be a little
from
cartoony.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I
So
love how Mohawk Mark sounded though.
Yeah.
Such a-
Yeah.
Just asshole.
Yeah,
Ugh.
he sounds very like he just sounds fucking nuts, crazy, on edge.
Yeah.
So Mark hits Mohawk Mark after they have like a kind of a mirrored fight, like they're blocking each other and kind of
Yeah.
seeing what each other are doing. He does the double-sided on his ears, starts bleeding from the face, and then who shows up, Ryan?
Fucking capes with Bolt and Kid Thor knockout.
Come on,
Like,
guys.
we've seen Kid Thor
Knockout
knockout
was cool.
before.
Yeah.
In the
future scene.
future
Yeah.
scene last season. But like Bolt showing up is like, oh, okay, like capes are here. Capes are
Yeah.
yep, here we are.
Yep. So awesome. So they all fight Mark, thinking that he's an evil Mark.
All right, I have a question.
Yeah.
We don't know this yet, but I'm just throwing the question out there. Is I should have gone back and looked it up because I feel like I don't. Ryan, you'll probably fucking know. Episode 1 or 2 of the show, like of season 1, they allude to another group of superheroes that are kind of like a
The
joke.
friend
Fight Force.
Fight Force.
Are
Fight
we
Force.
sure that Bolton? Are we sure that they're not Fight Force? Are we sure they're Capes?
I have assumed that Fight Force is all of those other heroes, the show only heroes.
Yeah.
Could be.
That's
I
who
can
I've
see that.
assumed Fight
Yeah.
Force was. Because in the tryout episode 2 or 3 or whatever, 3, whatever, 4, I don't know, of season 1, when they're doing the tryouts, Mark's there. And he's like, oh, Fight Force is here.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all of those
Mm.
characters.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Haley Joel Osment looking one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So here we go, guys. We get your villain of the week shows up again. Guess he's not a villain of the week, is he? Powerplex is back and he is out of prison and he sees Mohawk Mark and he's like, oh, there's 2 of them. And Mohawk Mark says, not for long. Not for long. And then Powerplex zaps him and Mohawk Mark is like annoyed. He's like, really, dude? And he knocks Powerplex into the wall and you can see like his clothes torn and he still has the
Right? Attached to his
discs.
skin.
Yeah, the discs all over him. So we get a montage of Debbie and Oliver, Amber and Kyle, and William and Rick all watching the news, and it's the guy saying it looks like a bunch of Invincibles or these superheroes look like Invincibles are just attacking everything. Then it goes back to Debbie and Oliver just flies off.
Mhm.
And guys,
Oh.
this Koba. He's excited as well.
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I would let my son, super powered or not, go and fight a bunch of.
You could tell Debbie is like really struggling with this one. She is so strong throughout this entire
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
and she always finds a way to, like, pull through, say the right thing,
Yeah.
And this was like, you could tell this was really hard. She like
Yeah.
falls to her
Oliver,
knees,
man,
just like
Oliver, like, he just, every line of dialogue from this kid is just gold, man.
Yeah.
He says, you guys have been telling me to save people and help people. You want me to feel something for people. They need help. Let me go help them. Let me go help Mark. And she lets him go. And she says, they're going to come here. I'm going to go somewhere safe. Don't come back here. Find your brother.
Yeah.
And he goes off.
Sandra Oh has maybe like 3 or 4 lines this whole episode, and every single one like made me want to tear up, because you can hear the like fear in her voice, but also like knowing that she has to, like, this is the right thing to do, to go let them try to help, because he can probably help save a lot of lives, but she at the same time doesn't want him to, because of how terrifying the whole situation is. Like, going back to the whole newscast thing, like, part of what I loved about that, which always I feel like signifies that this is bigger than just like this is what's going on this week in the show, is the broadcasters being like, we'll keep broadcasting as long as we can. Like, that was them telling you that, like, hey, yes, this is as bad as it sounds, is that there's 18 versions of what was Omni-Man now terrorizing this whole planet. And it, like, that really sells to you that, like, everyone is in a state of this could all end at any moment, and we don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yep. So the next scene that we get, and it's very chaotic, and that's what I love, is that the tone of this episode, they could have done it differently, but they kept the tone of the comic, where it was just chaos, mid-scene, what happened here, destruction, the beginning of a fight, the end of a fight. Like, you just...
So we talked about it at the end of last episode, and we talked about how some of us wanted more chaos, some of us wanted more settle in it and like show, and the way they struck that balance between the chaos and being able to flesh out certain moments and let you sit in it for a little bit to feel that tension for a minute, and then hit you with more chaos, was so well done.
Yeah. So we get the Pentagon, and it's the hallway, and you hear the noise going crazy, and there's like a dozen Reanimen that are destroyed, and a couple of them are just like beating this Mark, and even Cecil's like, okay, enough, he's dead. And it shows it's the Flaxon Mark. And his head is just destroyed. His mouth is off, and Cecil's noise thing breaks. And they talk about how many there are. This is where he says there's like 8 reports of 18. Donald is fucked up. He's missing part of his face. He's in Terminator mode. And he says that the good news is that these marks don't seem to be, at least what they've experienced, as strong as their mark.
Yeah.
Which is good news. And he also, like, Cecil,
that is good.
Yeah, this is probably the most helpless Cecil has felt, which made me then feel helpless, because he's like, what are they doing? Like, and Donald's just like, they're just destroying everything. And then Cecil goes, so there's no pattern. So we can't react to this. We can't plan. There's literally, we don't know what they're going to do, or they're just, and yeah.
And I like that he says, get engineering working on more of the noisemakers. And Donald's like, the engineering wing is gone. And that to me really sells that, like, Cecil and Donald are going to go try to call people, but it's on Mark and the other heroes. Like, Cecil is not going to swoop in and solve this whole situation. Yeah. It really is now up to the main hero.
Yeah, because the whole show, I mean, you feel like Cecil is unstoppable. Like, he's you know what I mean? Like, nothing could ever happen. And when you're like, oh, his house is gone, his tools are gone, his people are gone, what is he gonna do? Not a good day to be Cecil. Day 2, we get day 2,
and you hear the laughter.
And we get Britt, guys. He's you see his feet
says
running.
We call in.
You see his costume, and then it shows him, and he's got a team, probably Fight Force, and it's Jonathan Banks, guys. It's Mike from Breaking Bad. Fucking perfect.
And this is the moment that, like, up until now, everybody convinced, Jonathan Banks got to be Conquest, right? He's
Right,
got to be
right.
Conquest. So this was the moment where it was like, wait, that's Jonathan Banks. And
Yep.
if we're going where we're going, who are we going to hear? Like that added an extra level of excitement, not just seeing Britt and seeing him involved in the story finally, but having that moment to be like, wait a second, like the behind the scenes part of my head started to turn as well during that.
Yeah.
Then who the fuck is Conquest? Like,
Exactly,
who's that
yeah.
gonna be voiced by?
Mhm.
And seeing Jonathan Banks as Britt, like it works so well. Just like the face kind of matches in a way, you know what I mean? Like it just sounds right, looks right.
I didn't even bat an eye. Like it's as perfect as J.K. Simmons as
like it's
Nolan.
just
It's as perfect perfect. And
I was
has. Go ahead, TJ. What are you gonna say? Something about Rexplode, probably.
I was so convinced that Jonathan Banks was going to play like a Paul character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did not think he was going to be anybody.
Steve.
Steve. Yeah. Like I did not expect him to be Brett.
And
I mean,
Conquest or someone small.
I thought for sure. I didn't think he was going to be Conquest. But
I didn't think we were going to get fucking Britt. So I mean, if we knew Britt was going to be in the show,
who else would it be unless it was a throwaway character? And sure enough, it's fucking.
Yeah.
Guys, these are all different IPs. Like there is a Brit comic book, there is a Wolfman comic book, a Tech Jacket comic book, and I hope that there's going to be a Best Tiger comic book. Like,
and I feel like that's part of what made this feel like we were watching the Invincible movie. Like this felt like we were watching the Infinity War Endgame. I mean, the Invincible War, like Kirkman always meant to have that be like it's the crossover, but all in one issue. You know what I mean? It's the big event comic all in one single issue. And that's what this felt like. It was like all of these characters that we are not expecting to see now popping in these moments and having these great moments. Yeah.
And we've talked to Robert Kirkman about these other IPs coming in and and it's the whole Seance Dog thing. Like we've tempered expectations. So this was so special.
Yeah, no, it was really great. And it's amazing to see Brittany in action. I really do love him. And I can't wait to see more. So next we get Oliver. Did you like that, Ryan?
I loved it.
Yeah, that was great. So we get Oliver doing something that we've never seen him do before, helping human beings.
Yeah.
So he's lifting this giant fucking concrete slab over his head, helping say, "Get out of here!" And it was really awesome. And he tosses it off to the side, and then he sees Mark flying overhead. Thank goodness. He found his brother already.
Yes.
And he very excitedly goes, "Mark, Invincible!" and like gets really close to him, and it's not Mark, guys.
So gross. And it was like, and they picked like a perfectly sinister looking one.
Yeah, super. Like he's
I
got
like
blood.
how-
One with the full cap
how it
going over
doesn't-
the top, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't show any blood until he turns around and it's all on his left side. I really like that.
And it sounds like I have a theory that this particular Mark was just like Stephen Yeun with a clothespin on his nose too, because later on he sounds very nasally.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a trick to help him get another voice.
And he says very creepily, "Oh, who do we have here?" Very great. Then we cut to Eve and Mark flying through the city, and it's just destroyed. Mark, they talk about Eve's like, what's going on? Who do you think did this? And Mark says, there's only one person who could have done this, but I killed him already, so it can't be him. They see a bunch of heroes fighting my favorite guy, the mask guy who's got like the flowy. Yeah, so they see like a bunch of them fighting them. They cut in, they cut to go fight, and then we see it cuts to the desert, and we all knew what was about to happen.
Yeah,
fucking Kahor. So this Mark just goes
immortal.
And well, you just see him fall. You don't know why.
That's right.
Smashes into the tomb, and then he's like tries to crawl out of the hole, and then you hear Kahor say, "Oh, I forget. What does he say?
Finally," or something like that.
Finally,
a male host.
A male host for me. Yeah. So I thought it was gonna happen, and I thought it was gonna be so sick. I was fucking ready for it to happen.
Dude, I was ready.
Yeah. So Mark, it's the Mark without the goggles, but he still has the cuts here. You see Immortal flying overhead. that Invincible shoots all the ribbons off of him, and then he flies off and fights Immortal. And then Kahura says, "Oh, I cannot live outside, or I cannot exist outside my tomb without a host." And he crawls back in, and the two females that were in there from season 2 come out, and she's holding the one, and they call him like a misogynist and stuff like that, and it really funny dialogue.
And she's like, "Don't worry, Jane," or whatever. I'm gonna get you. You know, I'm gonna help.
You're gonna be okay.
You're gonna be okay, Jane, or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, I want to know. I want to know more. I want to know more. Where's she going?
I hope they show up again.
We're getting the perfect amount of story with this.
It.
We're getting the perfect amount. It's just
this
enough
is
to
the
keep
new
us like,
bag.
Yeah.
Yep. So then we cut to Oliver fighting that creepy Mark, and Oliver gets knocked down, and he's about to get a big slab of concrete thrown on him, and he fucking like stands up and just shoots between his legs. Doesn't waste any time, cocks back, punches him really hard in the back, and flies him like he flies back. And the evil Mark is like, "Oh, I think you fixed it." And he's like, yeah,
it cracks.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we get another quick cut to El Chupacabra.
Just
fighting.
One after the other after the other.
If you didn't have enough cameos after Brit,
it felt like we were like, okay, we got everyone. That's it. I'm sure that's it. And then to throw El Chupacabra, and it was such a fun surprise.
Yeah, El Chupacabra, for those don't know, he's in Guarding the Globe. He's in
like
Invincible Universe.
He's another,
and he's got an amazing backstory. I think he's like an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic. Really fucking cool hero. And he's fighting black and yellow cape Mark. And like he's making his rounds. He's like, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. And then that Mark says, "I killed my own father. Do you think you really stand a chance?" So he killed Nolan in his universe. Which is super awesome. We cut to a desert fight with some randos. The big muscled guy with like just underwear on. And then we get the little kid and the big green guy.
They all have names. I should have grabbed my making of season 1. A lot of these people have names.
That's right.
Oh, do they? My favorite part was when that little kid was jumping around and he's on the big green guy's back, and he fucking he gets uppercutted, and then he lands, and you hear the little kid go, "Ah!" He's just like obliterated.
Yeah.
It was great. So then we cut to a street fight in like what looks like a residential area, and Wyatt, we get your favorite little floaty face guy.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was like, oh, it's him too, and then he just gets knocked, crazy.
Through a car, through everything. He gets punched really hard, is what I said here. So then we cut back to Mark and Eve, and they're teaming up against the face mask Mark, which is awesome.
Yeah,
and it just shows them both like throwing punches and pummeling, and which looked awesome, by the way. All of it looked so good. There was not one moment of animation where I was like, they cheaped out on this. They did not one.
This part and the Angstrom fight were like the best fight scenes. These scenes looked really good.
Yeah. So we get Marcus Soga. So then other Mark, Omni-Man Mark. So he's in the Omni-Man getup, and he's very stoic, and he's like, "Do you need any help?" And he's like, "Fuck off!" And he's like, "Swearing doesn't make you cool." Like,
he's just arms folded the whole time.
He's like, "Swearing doesn't make you cool." This right here is probably one of the most nervous moments I've ever had watching anything. Like my heart was right in my throat, because like it's one of those moments, like it's like Jaws is coming, you know what I mean? And get out of the water. It's like
Mark keeps telling Eve to leave. He's like, "Go, get out of here." It was
so intense. So they're both fighting. The Omni-Man Mark comes after Eve, and I think he says, "I've always hated you." To Eve, which, oh my god, you could just feel it, and it was so desperate. And I don't think that didn't happen yet. Okay, I'm getting throwing both.
Right.
Oh no, that did happen. So it's awesome, because like she keeps putting up shields, and then she finally, they're both Marks are there, and she puts up this big barrier and fucking
pushes
shoves them through a
Slams
building,
them into a building,
and
it
the
explodes.
noise, like this, was like, I don't know how they did it, but the sound design was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're about to, the one, this is where the one, so a bunch of the shields come up. The one Mark grabs Eve's leg, snaps it in half, and he grabs her.
He like throws her down, and she like makes a pillow basically for her to land to break her fall, but he still shatters that and hits the ground.
And she gets knocked out. Yeah, and she gets knocked out. So Mark is there. They're both flying above him and saying, "You can't save her and beat us. Like you can't do both." And the Reanimant drop out of the sky. Which was
I cheered. It
was awesome. It was awesome. And guys, do you hear how fucking intense this whole episode is?
It's so much. It's so much.
I need to take a break from this recap.
Mark is literally in a situation where he is like, either Eve is about to die, or I'm gonna die, or what's gonna happen,
or they're both gonna die.
The Reanimen that almost killed him in episode 2 of this season show up to save him, and Cecil with the drone being like, get her over here right now, like we can help her. Like the way that everything comes full circle in this episode, not just having it be this intense, like just all gas no brakes type of episode is a testament to how well it's written as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like cool action, and like this scene felt like scary. Like it felt scary and nerve-wracking. And it was great. So we get them at the hospital, and Cecil tries to convince Mark to join the fight again, and he's like, I'm not leaving. They know where she is, and so then
they can come here to get to her.
Yeah,
to get to me.
And he just decides he's like, fuck it, I'm staying here. I don't care what happens. Oh, Oliver's out there, your mom's out there. I don't care. So then we get an awesome Donald, man.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. MVP Donald. So he's like, he goes to Cecil. He's like, I could be better used out there in the fight. And Cecil says, you'll be killed.
You'll just die.
You'll just die.
That's what I do.
That's what I do, sir.
That's what I do, sir.
Chills from Donald.
I hate it. It's so good. I hate it. Fuck. And then just very nonchalant, Cecil's like, all right, go link up with Britt. And
I remember even at this point, the four of us are like, he said Britt.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was like, we're just so excited. We're like,
Ryan,
Britt's just here.
Ryan, because we can't see each other. We're watching the show, but we're all listening to each other talk and stuff like that. And we just hear Ryan go like, he said Britt.
It hasn't, like, my brain is still playing catch up. At this point, my brain was still at Wolfman. It was like, come on.
Yep. So we get an awesome scene in the Guardians of the Globe headquarters with that Mark with the cutout eyes fighting Immortal, fighting. So you see Shapesmith, he's torn in half, look dead.
Yeah.
And I think we were all like, wait a minute, he's been laying there for kind of a long time. Like, is he actually dead? Black Samson is knocked out. So it's Immortal, Kate, and Darkwing 2 are all fighting him. So Darkwing comes up, and the whole time this Mark is just like cynically laughing, like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know what it reminded me of? Immortal was punching him in the face over and over again, and it looked like Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he just was smiling and he had that like sinister fucking look on his face.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is so much fun. This is great. I love this. My dad killed you guys. I never had a chance to do this. This is great.
Yeah. One of the funniest moments too is him being like, oh, what did that stretchy guy say right before I killed him? And he gets knocked out, and then he's like, oh no, I'm not gonna be alive anymore. Like,
I don't want to not be alive.
It's Steven Yeun doing an evil version of Mark, doing an impersonation of Shapesmith.
Yeah,
so good. Like,
it was really good.
Amazing.
And then Immortal,
we did get a moment as well where this evil Mark grabbed Darkwing and slammed him in the same style as Omni-Man killing Darkwing and breaking his leg.
Snapped his leg. But in a way that wasn't as gratuitous as Eve, but it was still like painful to watch. It just snapped through his boot or whatever.
I mean, it's still in his boot,
Yeah. So while he's being like having fun, like, oh, I don't want to be like mocking Shapesmith, Immortal says you're a pale comparison to Invincible, punches him, and he's like, hey, you spoiled my fun. And then he knocks Immortal down, stomps on his neck, decapitates him, he kills a bunch of Kates, takes his head and throws it through a Kate. And then that's when Darkwing comes with another fucking moment, probably goosebumps, and said, we're not dead yet. And he traps that Mark in the shadow realm.
All of this whole scene is in issue 60, but it's like 3 panels. You see Shapesmith ripped in half. You see Black Samson knocked out. Like it all happens. You even see the Immortal's head go through a Kate in the same way it does in this. It was just so crazy that they captured all of it so well.
Yeah.
I like how couple things. I liked how Immortal's head hit the ground and it rolled, and it was his head looking at Duplicate's face, like they were face to face.
Last thing he sees kind of thing.
And also one other thing is Shapesmith, like we thought, like, is he dead? Is he? We had one of those moments in the last episode when he was on the car. It's funny that we had.
You never know if his core is intact.
Yeah. So the next scene we get Debbie and Paul at Paul's house, and they're watching the news. Paul, I think, says like, they're evacuating people, and she says, no, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm staying here as long as they're broadcasting something on the news. I need to make sure that my son's okay. And Paul says, I do too. I want to make sure that they're okay. We get William and Rick at campus, and they're like running through, flames everywhere. Rick's like, oh, I think your car is this way. And a building goes to fall on William, and Rick saves his life. Because Rick is a robot, don't forget.
Yeah. Which that felt like a great payoff to Rick's storyline last season of like Rick almost jumps off the building to like kill himself, right? Like he feels like he's this monster now. And had he done that, William would be gone now. Yeah. So to see that like come back around as a payoff is cool.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we go from like epic scene, funny scene, terrifying scene, emotional scene, money shot scene to now just a shot of Mark's house, and it's a voiceover, and it's Mark saying, "Mom, I'm hurt. I need help." And then there's quiet, and he's like, "Ah, shit. I was really looking forward to killing her again." And then he flies out of the roof, and that's it.
I'm pretty sure this is Mohawk Mark. Like it kind of, you see the black and blue. It looks like it sounds like him.
Yeah, it looks like it's Mohawk
asshole.
Mark. Yeah. So then we go back to the Guardians, and we see Samson, and Shapesmith's alive, and he's being very funny, and he's like, I have this, all my important parts are in this thing called a core, and as long as it doesn't get punched into goo, I'll be okay. I'll be able to pull myself back together. And Samson's like, Darkwing, that crazy Mark must have killed Darkwing and trapped himself in the Shadow Realm. Hey TJ, guess what?
Is it time?
It's time to talk about it. Are you ready? No words. Wow. Speechless. So we get goggled-eyed Mark, and he is holding up a robot, and there's a bunch of other crushed robots around him. And he's like, I know that the Rudy always has to be in one of these. And then Robot says, I can control these remotely, very calm. And then he just tears over. He's like, what do you do? What is this? He's like, where's the little troll guy?
Mark says, I could tell by the tone of your voice that you're scared, that you're nervous.
Yeah. And he calls him Robo Buddy. I love that little moment.
Yeah, and he tears it open, and Rudy sure as shit was in there. And to be able to be that calm, like even though Mark said that he heard fear in his voice, I didn't. I mean, good job, Rudy.
Which is also a cool callback to the fact that he feels fear now. Remember that whole thing?
Yes.
And he wants to control it.
Yeah. So it's who do we have? So we have Rex is passed out. Monster Girl, in her Amanda form, is knocked out.
Bulletproof.
And so Bulletproof flies in and knocks like starts fighting that Mark.
He yells at Bulletproof, like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Like, get them out of here.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny because like out of the scene, Mark or Rex like like gasps.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah.
It's because
And
he's checking Amanda and he's like, please be breathing. Please be
And then
breathing. And
oh,
then
that's
Rex
Rudy.
goes,
Yeah.
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 Now,
That
the
was great.
craziness, again, this is a perfect example of being able to capture the chaos, but also extend the scenes.
Yeah.
What happened to Monster Girl? What happened to Amanda? But
Yeah.
this is also a scene that we get to
Mhm.
sit in for a bit.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So Rex is fucked up. He grabs his side. He's got a big gaping hole right by his rib cage. Rex tells, because Rudy's like, "Oh, get us out of here," and he's like, "I think we should leave that to the flying guy." And he's like, get your obvious name and fly them to safety." And they argue with Rex, and he's like, "It's okay, I got a plan." And he's like, "Oh, make sure you tell Ray I'm sorry I didn't help her finish moving."
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they
And
go off.
And
And they go off, and he's like, "Oh, they're so stupid. Couldn't tell I was lying about the plan thing."
Yeah.
So Rex throws a bunch of stuff at
I
him.
love that the first thing he's like, "All right, let's do this." This whole
Takes
thing
his goggles off.
He says, this whole
Yeah.
thing's pretty, stupid or whatever. Destroys his goggles, just like
Yeah.
the outfit. Once you destroy it,
Yeah.
Yep.
Ryan, stop doing this. You're gonna ruin the show for everybody. Anytime someone rips their shirt off, they're gonna be like, "Whoa, Ryan ruined it for us."
It
We
is
know
that, but it's that Rex left everything on the table. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
It's
He
not-
held
because-
nothing back.
because he could have gotten more goggles, like that could happen,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
another, symbolically, like
Symbol.
he's shedding
Yep.
it. He's gotten nothing.
So
but
he
that
does
was
this
awesome.
very
Him,
cool-
like him charging it, like him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
he does a very cool move where he just charges the floor under that mark
Yeah.
and blows it up.
Explodes
like-
underneath them.
And you're like,
Now-
maybe they're not
Yeah.
gonna kill
Yeah.
Rex. Maybe he did it.
That was the one moment they had to give you of like, if he's gonna get out, this will be the moment. And so
Yeah.
when you see the other Mark
Yeah.
hovering above with the one goggle broken, you're like, oh, he's
Yeah. So he goes.
It's perfect. I love it. If there was one thing I wanted to see, one more shot of his hand blaster.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been
You
cool.
know what I mean, or like it being destroyed or messed up or
Yeah.
something like that. I just wanted to see one of those.
Or he just has like a robot hand or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like it's chopped off. Anyway, so then that Mark grabs Rex by the throat and he says, "Ow," as he squeezes him and he coughs up blood a little bit. And that Mark says, "I'm gonna pop your head off now. And then I'm gonna go find your friends and skin them alive."
Mhm.
And he's like, "You have nothing left. What are you gonna do?" And Rex, he says, "I have something left." And he's like, "What?" And he's the whole time he's reaching in
Yeah.
to that hole in his stomach, grabs his rib
And then
cage,
it's
and
like,
he
if
says,
Mark says, if you think that you're going to stop the bleeding, you're even dumber than the Rex on my world.
"Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he says, well,
I want to
but
know that, Rex.
I'm the idiot that took you with me, though. And
Right.
he
Yeah.
does the whole, well,
Says-
you can't. What do you have left to charge?
and he says, my entire goddamned skeleton," and his face glows behind it, and you don't see it happen.
And Invincible's eyes fucking like
Yeah.
shock
Yeah.
and then we get the explosion
From the
Yeah.
distance, it just pans out right
from the
away.
distance. Yeah.
And you see it's Ray. Billie Eilish starts right away,
Mhm.
and it's terrible.
Yes.
And in the best way, in the best way imaginable. It is just, it's like, fuck, man. Like
Yeah.
they could not have picked a better song, a better like tone. It was perfect.
Rex Explode's
And-
death ends the Invincible War. Like it's pretty much done after that. Like the chaos, anyways, of Invincibles killing people
Yeah.
and fighting
This-
people. Like
this
this is
scene
where
climax
it's like
of
this
the
is the solace. This is
climax
the
of the chaos.
This
Yeah.
scene was the finale of the chaos. Here's a new scene. You're jumping into the middle of it type of
Yeah.
like trying to get your bearings, because
Yeah.
this is not only, I think, the biggest loss that we get, at least that we see, of the Invincible War, but like it's really the first time in the series that a main character has been killed off this way, right? Like Robert Kirkman, I feel like gets talked about a lot as being, and maybe more so with Walking Dead, of like nobody's safe and you're going to lose characters left and right. But for this story, this is really the first time that we're fully
There's a
losing
lot of
a main
a
character.
lot of, I don't want to call them fake outs, but people
Yeah.
you think die,
Yeah.
but then they don't and everything.
Yeah.
But this is
Close
a
calls.
real one.
Yeah.
But there's finality in Robert Kirkman's. It's not like there's fake outs, but when someone dies, they don't come back.
And that's why I feel like this scene is as powerful as it is, because it's real. Like it's not going to be Rex, that was actually just a decoy and he's fine.
Seeing Rudy's reaction, like looking back,
Ray in the
car.
Yeah.
They're just, and I think it's pretty cool that in a shitty way, of course, that like it almost looks like he takes out the team base with him. Like that's his home. Like when we sell it, we're gonna make a mint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this was his place, showing her around. Like this was his home because he doesn't have a home, and he blows it up.
Oh, something that we did miss too, that the dialogue that he said when he was saying goodbye to Ray is he says, "You know what? Like I finally feel like I'm in a good place in my life." TJ, are you gonna cry yet?
You don't say things like that.
He's an evil man. He's not he's not a good person.
Yeah. You could have taken out all the dialogue and just had him say one of those things. I'll see you, or I'll be right back. Lay one on me, mama, for luck.
Yeah.
Any of those things, but it was just nonstop, and he had blue balls when he got blown up. So
I don't know why I stopped helping people move, or I don't help people move more often.
Yeah, it was great.
You got like about 3 minutes of Rex, and it's just every second is perfect.
Yeah,
you did it.
It was great. So then we get another nice little montage. So we get Wolfman crawling out of the rubble, thank God, and just looking out at the chaos. You see William and Rick cuddling, like holding each other amongst the ruins. Haley Joe Osment is holding some sort of dead hero.
Yeah.
You see a bunch of other dead heroes.
You see that strong guy in the shorts or whatever, he's dead. You see a couple marks that are dead. I think this is where you see Oliver walking away with the beetle.
One of the marks, I want to say it's maybe the long hair one, and he's just like in a crater in the grass, and there's a bird that comes and lands on him. And it's like, oh, he's been there for who knows how long, because the world is in such chaos right now. Nobody's rushing to get him. There's just like birds coming around to land on him now. Like I love so many of those scenes where it's cutting are like grotesque, but also have this like very serene, kind of beautiful feeling to them.
Yeah, man.
So here's a couple cool things that happen too. So it goes to Donald and Britt, and Britt's pulling rubble off and sees Donald and pulls him up, and it's just half of Donald.
He's like calling me Donald.
He's still with me. Yeah.
And
that way, sir.
Yeah. He says, I'm still alive, but barely. And he's like, you're doing better than a lot of people out there. Britt does in his awesome Brit voice.
And like they're giving them that scene. Like Britt's in the show. We see Robo Donald. Amazing. But giving them that scene is really special for
So this is actually now when you get Mark and Cecil and Cecil trying to convince Mark to help with everything.
We also see Tech Jacket again flying down from space.
And then after that, you see Tech Jacket with a murdered mustache Mark. And do you know where Tech Jacket goes?
Earth.
He flies towards Earth. So, and then day 3. So now we're on day 3. You get it's day 3, and then it's the awesome close up of all the Marks' faces with the fire in their eyes,
slowly panning out.
Really great detail with the cities behind them.
Yeah. So first it starts with a close up of their faces, and then it's they're like behind them. Do. Oh man, so good. So much,
which is like I feel like such a cool way to do this moment, right? Like
better.
Exactly. They could have done just that, where it is like seeing the landscapes behind them and recreating it, but doing the close up first, the like wider shot, and then the behind them shot was such it's so good.
Yeah. I know. You're mad, Wyatt.
I am.
I know.
Like I said, I went into this being like, I don't know if they can do that justice, what I just showed you guys. And then, like you said, they did it better. It's incredible. Like I'm blown away.
Yep. So we get Angstrom Levy contacting all the Marks saying, meet me at the spot. Meet me where, like, and it's at Mark's. Yeah, you know where. And it's at Mark's house, and they're all there. And they start to have their little, like,
tit for tat
back and forth. And this is where, so fully masked Mark says, he
They
said,
start
I
talking about
I liked it here. I miss mom.
why do we
I
have to come
actually,
here?
yeah.
I want to go down and play catch with dad or something, like
Yeah.
talking about playing catch.
And then,
Yeah, so, and
he says, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one. We didn't all kill mom. And then we get another one of them saying, I miss William, which is really cool too. Like, they each
And
have their own different backstory.
he said it in a way that seemed like it was more of a romantic way.
Maybe.
Did you guys get that too? I got that. I got it as like they were in love.
The fact
kind of thing.
that that was the name that he called out just made me wonder, like, oh, what was this Mark's story? Like, and that's true for, I think, everything that any of them say. They do such a good job of drawing you in.
And they pretty much were demanding to Angstrom that they want what was promised to them. And the one Mark that said that he missed home and he missed his mom was like, we didn't all make the same deal. I came here to get my mom and bring her back with me.
Crazy.
And
yeah.
Come on.
So then Angstrom
and then
banishes them all.
Well, Mohawk Mark makes fun of him. He's like, "Oh, he's missing his mommy."
And
Could you imagine?
Go ahead, TJ.
Could you imagine that story where he takes Debbie away?
Yeah,
because he loves her.
Keeps her
But he
captive,
takes her
trying to
away
convince
from
her
this.
to like be his mom instead of. But
That would
right
be
before they all get banished, I think it's Mohawk Mark that's like, listen, if we kill him, we'll be stranded here. Let's just take him and torture him instead until he gives us what he wants, which, you know, very cool bit of dialogue there.
Because they refuse to keep working with him because a lot of them are already killed. A lot of them got killed. So that's why they...
Yeah, and they were like, this plan was stupid. A lot of us got killed, and then Mohawk Mark is like, whatever, I was gonna kill them all anyways. Like, I hate all you guys. So Angstrom banishes them all to the desert realm, which we've seen. That's where Mark got stranded before. That's where he got killed.
Very funny moment too of the yellow cape Mark being like, Angstrom, and then one of the others like, he can't hear you, dumbass. Like, it's great.
Yeah. Oh my god. So we get Mark at the hospital over Eve's body, and Cecil comes in, he's like, we found him. You sure you want to sit this one out still? And Mark was gone. And it's a really cool scene it's a close-up of Angstrom's back, and it pans out, and he's got the orbs circling around him as he just sits there with his hands behind his back waiting. So fucking awesome. So he pops up, he's like, I killed you, like, and they have
cue like the most ridiculous animation now. Like, you can tell like
I'm going to be a little dramatic about this.
Do it, Wyatt. Take it.
If I have to hear any more people try to nitpick the animation after getting this episode, I'm gonna have a fit about it. Like, I felt so excited watching this, like seeing the way that Mark moves throughout it, seeing the way Angstrom moves when they do a close-up and he like pulls back as he's getting ready to shoot all the orbs and stuff, just throughout this scene up until the point where Angstrom is gone. The animation is just so cool. There's so many awesome moments where like you just see all of the love that was put into this episode and this sequence specifically. And it's just, it's awesome.
And again, it wasn't just watching a cool scene. It was like, oh my God.
So
like Mark kept coming like this close to go into the portals and then barely escaping that one, another one opening up and having to stop and shift and sway and stop. It was so fucking good.
Just the opposite of what happened in the season 2 finale. It's all these portals, send them in all these places, and it's like, no, he's not going to go in any. But like, Angstrom knows that, and he's like, well, I have these things that will force
That's why I brought these.
That's why I brought these. These are going to push you into the portals. You know.
So
for me.
I watched this with Riker, my son, who's 14. And TJ, do you remember when you took him to the movies and a really funny thing happened? What he did? What did he do? What did he say?
He was like probably 4 years old, and I took him, me and him to see the Charlie Brown movie, Peanuts. And there was a part where Charlie Brown did something funny, and all the little kids in the theater laughed except for him. He didn't laugh at all. He just like turned to me and he goes, Charlie Brown is hilarious.
So the reason why I say that is because during this scene, the whole episode, he was quiet, right? And then this scene happened where he's barely hitting those portals, and he goes, "That was pretty cool." And I was like, I was just like, Oh my God, really? I thought so too.
I gotta comment.
It was great.
The moment where he, opens up the portals and the waves of them are coming in, and he's like holding back, and then he starts to take a step forward and start punching them and everything was some of the best the show has ever looked.
Yeah,
and you
so
see the orbs just like sliced in half on the ground
After
too.
they
as
start
he's,
fighting him
punching
too.
through. Yeah. Ah.
yeah, so
Mark
Angstrom's
was
running out of orbs, and Mark doesn't waste a beat, goes up, grabs him by the throat, and Wyatt, everything he fucking says is gold. Oliver comes up and he says, "Kill him! Do it now! Don't waste any time. Do it before he escapes or
Look at
kills
everything
somebody
he
else."
just did. Look at everything he just did. Kill him before he can do it again. And I love, again, I feel like especially looking back at the comic, I think of all these great moments that I remember loving so much reading. And sometimes I forget how expertly crafted they have been to weave together to get to moments like this. All the stuff with Oliver in episode 3 with the Maulers is so that you can have this moment where you're like, wait, no, Oliver is right. He maybe is right about what Mark should do here. And maybe Mark should be taking some advice from Oliver and not the other way around. And like, it's so great. It's so great.
Yeah. So, and Mark, guys, he looked Angstrom in the eyes and he said, I have no choice. Yeah, you've given me no choice. And he's going to kill him. And Angstrom opens up a portal, a ball knocks Mark in the head, and Angstrom does this like slow motion
Man of Steel fall backwards.
Yeah, like Ellen Ripley in Alien 3 where she just goes into the vat. And Mark says like, no way, no how, grabs him through the dimension by the arm, pulls him back, and Angstrom closes the portal and chops his arm off. And then we get him
we're being like, ugh, gross.
And then we get him in the technician's like realm dimension again, and he's like, fix this, I have to get my marks and go back and kill him. And they just sit there and say no. And
they stare at him, and he's like, oh, technicians. He's like, oh, you guys are heartless. You guys don't have an
appropriate name for heartless machines. Yeah.
And this is the other casting news we got. This is Doug Bradley, the voice of Pinhead, the lead Cenobite from Hellraiser. Holy shit. I thought the technicians were stupid as fuck and just like throwaway characters. Oh my God.
So cool.
They were terrifying.
Yeah.
And they said promises were made, Angstrom, and they had the little failsafe in his head beeps. They're like, we helped you and we keep our word. Obviously, you don't keep yours. And they say, you work for us now. Refuse, and your remains will gift us endless fascination.
Such a good line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Hellraiser before, but it's literally their dialogue. It's like them saying endless fascination. Like, it's so fucking eerie and terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Whose idea was it? And I want to fucking high five him. It was probably Robert Kirkman, but God damn it, Doug Bradley, amazing.
So good.
So we get another montage, and
still going, guys.
Yeah, it's the news feed saying, New York City, all these major cities are completely destroyed. Many other cities around the world are in the same exact thing, but this is a rescue mission now. While it's doing this, it shows millions of dead, sacrifices, and it shows Rex's burnt shadow on the wall. And
when they say the heroes that sacrifice themselves to save us, it shows the shadow.
Yeah. So Mark is back in the hospital with Eve. Cecil comes and asks him to help with the cleanup. He teleports him in, and it's Oliver sees him, runs up and grabs him, gives him a big hug. And then Powerplex is there. I think is he helping with the cleanup?
This is where we see Tech Jacket for a second too.
Oh yeah, Tech Jacket's also down there.
This is where Tech Jacket, I don't know if it's Zach, because unless he's just a little bit more skinny, he's a little more feminine shaped.
Yeah,
very
possible.
We'll see. He could be a girl,
I
like
don't
they
know, it
did
could-
with Ray.
could be
Like
the
they did
style,
with
but-
Ray.
Yeah.
I also, one thing that I thought that made me think that too was that he or she or whatever has a pink beam, which I thought
Mm.
was
I don't know if that's. I don't remember if it's pink or.
Yeah, I think
he
that's
uses multiple
I
colors.
think the
Yeah.
pink
I think
beam
gun
comes standard on all tech jackets.
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember that in the comic.
It's in the comic. It's
But
there.
maybe not.
Yeah. So then Powerplex, I think, is helping with the cleanup crew and attacks Mark right away. And Oliver comes in and tries to fight him, and then Mark grabs him and says, "No, you have to restrain him. Don't let him move." So then they're both brother to brother are holding him, getting electrocuted.
I love
And
that.
yeah,
And what
Really-
a smart way to establish that, like, Oliver feels like I can help Mark when there's a problem and there's a villain. Like, I just
Yeah.
helped him in this situation where I'm no longer in training mode. Like, this is I'm able to
Yeah.
come help you now.
Oliver, like, there's been a lot of like up and down. Like, people like Oliver, they think that he's a little unhinged. Like, this episode really highlighted his heroic side. Like, when backs are against the wall, Oliver is going to do what's right. He's going
Now.
to protect
he-
his
yeah.
brother.
Yep.
He's going to try to do what's right, and I loved it. Oliver shined,
Go.
and everyone shined in this episode.
Yeah.
So then Powerplex again, he's like, everything that you see, every person who you save or every body you find is because of Invincible. This is his fault. Like, he just keeps like ramming that home.
Britt
and
takes
then
him away.
Britt takes him away and he's still screaming. So Mark is back at the hospital saying, "All my fault. Like, Powerplex was right."
I think there was yeah, you're right. You did mention it briefly earlier when it was in the midst of all this, but he has that moment in the hospital with Eve where he's saying, like, all I could think about is how I should have killed him. All this time I've been beating myself up about how I killed the guy, but now all I can think about is how I should have killed the guy. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So this is ironic. So remember, Haley, her I forget her last name, but the woman who directed this episode, also directed the Adam Eve episode. And we get a bit of a deep cut where we have Eve's mom saying to Mark, she's like, "It's funny. No, that's terrible. It's ironic. Nope, that's not good either." But she's like, "My daughter has powers and is sitting here alive, and her friend Valerie, just a normal person, was out and she died. She didn't make it.
she
So
wasn't saving people. She wasn't.
yeah. So she's kind of like coming to terms again with Eve. But there you go, guys. We get a connection to the Adam Eve special and her friend.
We saw Val on the coin earlier this season as well, right? Yeah.
This was another example of, we know the comic really well, but I haven't reread intentionally because I want to try and keep things as exciting as I can for the show. This is line for line in the book too.
Yeah.
Her even
is it really?
Her even saying, "Oh, it's ironic." No, that's not right. Like, it's exactly that conversation too, Mark,
She's
outside of the
such a
hospital.
perfect, awkward
Except-
mom.
Yep.
You know?
Except she doesn't say Valerie's name is different. That's all. That's the only
Yeah.
change. You got to remember this issue came out around the same time as the Adam Eve special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they were setting some stuff up.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if Samantha had a little friend in her origin story. I don't
remember that happening.
I don't either.
So it's
I
kind
don't
of cool
remember
that if that's true, if she didn't have the friend in the comic origin story, the way they still connected those conversations and gave them
And made them a bigger,
even
made her a bigger part.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah. But you know what? To be honest, guys, she was rambling a little bit, and she was there to see her daughter. So thank goodness Eve's dad was there to reel her back in. You know what I mean? He's like, "Come on."
Just give her the meanest look humanly possible during this. No sympathy during this world-ending tragedy event. Just like the mean.
Someone's got to do it, Wyatt.
This is my daughter. This is my daughter. Give me back my family.
All right, so we get a new Pentagon sign coming back. They just have like a shed in the back with like a bunch of Pentagon signs just before they get destroyed. It's in the rear.
It's in the rear.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get Immortals revived. He's coming to, and he sees Kate, and he's like, "I want to start a family with you." And they hug and embrace.
Sounded just like
And-
it.
Where's
And they're-
Omni-Man? Let's start a family.
And so Cecil is having a meeting with Robot, who confirms that Rex is dead.
Which is
And a
such a
bunch-
cool moment in
yeah.
the comic too, where Invincible says, like, "What about Rex? Or
Yeah.
where's Rex? Oh, he's dead." And it's just a panel of him looking down. And same
Yeah.
thing happens. I'm glad they kept that.
Yeah, and Cecil, Mark's like, "I don't know what you're saying. Well, I don't know what you're asking him." And he literally says, "I want you to lead the Guardians." And Mark's like, "I'm not the fucking right guy for the job." And man, after rewatching this episode and this scene, this scene like almost brings you to tears too, because they have a really poignant moment where they're walking. Mark leaves, Cecil follows him, and Cecil's like, "I'm here for you." And Mark literally thanks Cecil. Like, he's under his breath. He's like,
He's like,
Thanks.
"You're the last person I want to talk to, but thanks."
"Thank you." Yeah. It was really, really great. So they had a moment where their relationship is starting to turn the
And then-
page.
Yeah.
A little bit. And then you get Mark, and it just ends with him cleaning up the city, and it's
it.
over.
Yeah,
That's it.
it.
Doodles.
Credits, right?
Doodles. So Mark is cleaning up the city, and what's the line? Something worm.
Stand ready for my arrival.
My arrival.
worm.
Worm.
Yeah. And
Straight
we
from the
get
comic.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who does not sound anything like Negan, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Right.
Yes. Like,
a little worried about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
if the potential of him being Conquest, I was like, man, I hope it's just not Negan. And
I wanted someone that sounded older. Like you picture that older,
Yeah.
gruff, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so I just pictured like swearing Negan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it's not at all. It's
No,
not at all.
didn't-
It's there's no inflections that
Mm-hmm.
he shares with Negan. There's nothing like,
Yeah.
had you not told me that was Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I almost wouldn't have been able to
Yeah,
tell.
it took
But-
me when we were watching it. It
Yeah.
took me a second to like really catch it, and I was like, "Is that Jeffrey Dean Morgan?" Like I didn't
Yeah.
even really like know at first. He had said a couple lines
Yep.
before I kind of caught on to it.
He
Yep.
he
Yeah.
crushes these few lines, and the design is so good. It still obviously
Yeah.
feels like his little cameo from season 1 when we see him in the like Viltrumite flashback, but obviously more updated and with the gold arm, the little pouches on his like belt with the purple lights, and I just love his like crooked teeth too. Like that adds
yeah.
to part of his just like very like just I don't know, just animalistic vibe to him. And it's just like, we knew this was coming. It's the Invincible War episode. We know you've got to end it with that cliffhanger. And still throughout the whole thing, I was just like, I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. Like it's I can't believe we're here in this moment.
And he does the whole dialogue, like, you've been given leeway. This
more
planet's in
time.
no state for the Viltrum Empire. And then Mark says, everything you see around you is my fault. And I
Everything the
want
light touches.
Yeah, and I want nothing more. I'm paraphrasing here, but he
Yeah.
says, all I want to do is hit something as hard as I can.
And when he says that, we get the Invincible theme music playing on this synth, and I've never been more hyped about anything. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
In
Oh,
Conquest, what does he say?
Conquest against
Perfect or
I think he says good, maybe.
Good.
something?
Conquest against the all-white background of the sun, just charging forward, and then Mark does this
Yeah.
like stomp in the ground to
Yeah.
launch.
Dude, he doesn't like lift his foot up and stomp down. He literally just presses down.
Yeah.
And
Ah,
it's so good. Wyatt, put your hands up here like this.
yes.
He's just so mad about it.
It's so
Ah.
great. It's like I said,
His hands are back up.
we used to pray for times like this. You know what I'm saying? We're in the moment. It's about to be Conquest. And like to get to like not necessarily predictions or anything, but we talked about being nervous for this episode, hoping that it lives up to the hype. I'm
Yeah.
no longer nervous going into the next episode to see how they deal with Conquest because they just showed me like, hey, we got you. We're going to do these moments and you're not going to have complaints about it. You're just going to have a thrill ride from start to finish. And I can't wait.
I think pulling off the Invincible War seems like the most complicated thing the entire series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they did it with flying colors. So no more fear. They've proven they can do this, and it's I can't wait.
Yeah. So
and they do the charge. They charge at each other.
Oh yeah, they do the charge.
And it ends and it cuts almost instantly to written by Robert Kirkman.
Yeah. With the first time we get no post credits.
Just about to say that it is the first time we've ever gotten credits in the end.
Ever, but the first
what
time
was
season.
What was it? What else was it?
Was it season 1?
We need to talk.
The penultimate finale. I think it was we need to talk. Yeah.
And then it just cuts to black and we got nothing else. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Pretty cool. All right. So that was our breakdown. On to the doodles, guys. So this part we do.
Yes, doodles.
Yeah. So at this part of the show, we each do doodles of our favorite part or a random part or whatever. It doesn't matter.
We think we can draw.
Yeah, and we like to try to predict what other people are going to draw. TJ, I think we should all probably guess first. TJ, did you do something Rexplode?
Of course.
Did you do?
I had
did
to.
you do?
That's what I.
Did
That's
you do
what I
his?
get.
Did you do his goggles charged or cracked on the ground?
Can we? Before you answer, TJ, did anyone else draw something Rexplode?
I didn't. I was gonna do something super morbid and like funny with like his body parts flying away, but I didn't want to disrespect him that much.
I did 2 again because I couldn't decide, and one of mine is Rex related.
One of mine. Mine is as well.
Ryan, did you draw his burnt shadow?
I did.
Do
we
have?
That was gonna be one of my guesses.
Nice. Oh, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his little body.
And I was
in the background.
I was so I saw this and I was like, oh, I think I want to do this. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? Pause that scene. All the colors in that scene are Rex's colors.
Oh yeah,
it's yellow, orange, and brown.
Hey.
Yeah. So the sunset
is
Rexplode's colors.
Rex
now
has gone back.
Now you get to every time you watch a sunset. Every time you watch a sunset, TJ, I hope you cry.
That's Rex you're looking at.
Of course. Bill, you pretty much called mine. I mean, I had a plan on what I wanted to do, but then my eulogy, like I ran out of time to do my doodle because I was doing that.
Yeah, you had to write a poem.
I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I just did this real quick. I just like pretty much threw this together. But yes, I did the goggles.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Very
I really
nice.
wanted to do like a whole, like cover the whole thing and do like Rex's grave with the goggles on the side of the gravestone and then with flowers and stuff like that. But
I still tribute.
I also,
your poem was that beautiful, but just in spoken word form.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you. I tried to draw like boomsticks that were glowing, but it looked like radioactive shit. So like little turds. So I didn't do it. Didn't do it. Erase that part.
Bill, you have to have drawn Wolfman.
Bill,
okay,
come on.
He drew.
Ready for
the best time?
Make it big.
It's one of the 3.
Yeah, nice,
dude. Bill,
that's really good.
Your best ever.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Look at the jaw on Wolfman. That's great.
Yo, I'm so fucking happy with the jaw. It's what I started with. I was like, I gotta start with that jaw.
That looks great. That looks great.
Yes.
Look at it again.
Good job.
All right.
Wyatt, did you draw something Conquest?
No, I thought about it, but I'm like, we're eating next episode. I'm gonna have plenty of Conquest to draw next episode. I can't draw Conquest this time. So I drew a Rex one first, and I didn't like how the hand turned out, so I did a different one. But I drew Rex charging up.
That's awesome.
Too good.
Look at the way his foot is bent in the anatomically correct way.
I'm gonna call that my unofficial doodle, because then I really wanted to do Mohawk Mark. I really wanted to draw a little Mohawk Mark.
I like it.
He was very fun to draw.
Oh, so, with the zipper and everything too.
Yeah. Yep. And collarbones, Bill. He's got collarbones.
The best collarbones.
Good job. Wow. Yeah. Those are some good doodles. Those are some good ones.
It was a big enough episode. I felt okay doing 2 doodles.
Excellent. All right. So that is it, guys. We do have an email to read after.
Yeah, I threw this one in there because I felt like it was a good time to talk about it.
Oh yeah, I can take
Do
this
you
one.
want?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead. Wyatt. Yeah.
Aloha once again, Invincible Podcast. It's Curtis Lake. I haven't written in since the climax of season 1, but with what's coming, I had to ask a different but suspiciously similar question. We know what's coming next episode, and with how much more brutal the climax of season 1 was versus the comics, I want to know if you guys think that over-the-top brutality and deaths we can expect, what over-the-top brutality and deaths we can expect from this episode are going to affect Mark's relationship with the world and other heroes more than it did in the comics. To get full scenes of this destruction as opposed to the comics, a few comic panels will really drive home the extent of the damage, and I feel like the public will have a closer viewpoint to Powerplex from now on towards him. I can, and he keeps going, but we can respond to that part first. I definitely feel like this episode is going to feel even heavier than maybe the Invincible War felt in the comic, because you do spend, I think, even more time with the devastation of it all.
Yeah, just
I
think about what we got on top of like just Mark and Nolan fighting. We got obviously the subway scene, the most brutal fucking thing we've ever seen. We get little things like Nolan just squeezing the fucking pilot's head. There's those moments that I'm like trying to think about what they could do like that would be worse than that in this episode. And
Yeah.
I have no I know they're going to do it. And I know I'm going to be
one of
as
my
shocked.
predictions is they are going to do like something like that, something like the subway scene that differs from the comic that we never got in the comic, and it's going to be an iconic moment.
Oh God, I don't know what it could be though, but it's so.
I think it's going to be Conquest takes Mark and flies through up to the space and flies through the moon, and the moon gets destroyed, which
No more
causes
moon.
which causes tidal waves, right? And destroys lots of stuff. And then Dinosaurus is just in the background like, shit, that was going to be my idea.
Okay.
And then we never see him again because he's
not needed because the death of everyone happened.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, there you go. He said, bonus question. Which one of the heroes from... Oh, wait, sorry. I skipped to the first bonus question. Bonus question. If you could get more backstory on one of the variants like we have with with other villains in the series, which variant would you like to know more about? Viltrumite Prison one is the first one that jumps to mind. I just want to know how he got all like scarred and everything too.
I'm going to sneak in a one that is only because of this episode and say Viltrumite with no mustache, because I want to see how and why he killed a wolf man.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
There you go, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'll just leave this up for the rest of the episode.
He said, bonus question. Which one of the heroes from one of the spinoffs that we haven't seen yet do you wish we could see during the Invincible War? I have no real requests because I feel like we got everything that.
So this email obviously came in before the Invincible War.
Yeah.
So we are fully satisfied.
I honestly, I would really like to see Wolfman, Best Tiger, and Tech Jacket just simultaneously.
Preferably in that order.
In that order. All within like 25 seconds, because I don't want to. I want to hyperventilate.
Maybe throw Brit, Capes, and El Chupacabra in there.
No, that would never fucking happen, Ryan. I bet
that'd be too much.
Pieces.
Okay, fan
too much.
Then he just says, praises, still love listening to the podcast, and since no one I know will read Invincible, I'm glad to have a parasocial comic book friend group that loves talking about it as much as I do. LOL, love, Curtis Lake.
That's why we're here.
Thanks, Curtis. All right, do we want to get into predictions before we end this episode?
All right, some light spoilers for the next issue or two of Invincible and what we think will happen. So if you're bouncing out now because you want to go into the next episode completely blind, thank you for listening. Email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll see you next breakdown. All right, so predictions.
I'll start because I already kind of alluded to my prediction. So I brought up about how like my like hot take is that we get Wolfman with some dialogue next episode, but I do feel like it's more likely I feel like we're going to get both, but I think it's more likely that we will get Tech Jacket dialogue, seeing as how he is such a huge part of the Invincible series.
Yeah.
The Wolfman isn't as much, but I feel like we need to start getting some dialogue with Tech Jacket. I don't think that they're just going to exclude him from the future, because I mean, we got him, we see him, so why exclude him? He's already there. So I do think that we're going to get some Tech Jacket dialogue, hopefully some Wolfman. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And then I already said my other prediction, where I think we're going to get an iconic like subway scene type thing.
Yeah.
So I agree with something crazy brutal that is a surprise. I think that it would be amazing if we got dialogue between one of those two characters or both. I think I'm going to go like this with my prediction. Conquest fight, 30 minutes. Out of I believe this episode is only 43 minutes long. Too.
I want to say it's 47.
That might be right.
I think it's like 47.
I know that it was less.
It is shorter than the Powerplex one.
Yeah. This came up in the live stream chat that we did, and people were talking about the Omni-Man fight only being about like 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes might be too long.
My prediction for that is just that it is going to be longer than the Omni-Man fight. It will be more brutal than the Omni-Man fight, if only for the fact that this is, at least for parts of it, going to be a two-way fight, more so than it was just a,
I'm really
Omni-Man kind of dominating it.
I'm really scared for Oliver and Eve. I'm a little nervous to watch.
Yeah.
Those scenes specifically are going to be tough.
And I do think so. I think we're going to get 30 minutes of a fight, Ryan, regardless of what you say, because 13 minutes to recap and like do like the whole, oh my God, the destruction, the death, toll, all that stuff is plenty of time. And then we will see Dinosaurus.
I think this goes back to one of my predictions, like leading into, I think it was our looking back for the year type thing and predictions for 2025. I think I said something along the lines of, we will see Cecil recruit Powerplex. And I'd love that for the Powerplex to have like these 3 episodes, to kind of like, and then it end with him being recruited by Cecil. I think would be really cool, and kind of showing that Cecil is still hiring villains. And I think that'd be a fun arc for Powerplex, and to keep him involved and to start building up another team. I don't know. I think there'd be something cool. There could be something cool with that. Maybe that's a hot take, but I don't know.
I don't have any like major predictions other than what you guys said. Bill, I think I'm on your team that I do think Dinosaurus. Like, I think we could get some Dinosaurus. I'm more, again, who knows? It's very much a 50-50, but I want to believe. So I'm going to say that I think that it will happen.
I, of course, want him. I am not. Yeah. I don't think so. I'm firmly in like the maybe 10% chance that he's showing up.
Valid. I think that's very valid. I will say, just as a small prediction, I think maybe we get another scene with Nolan and
oh my God, yeah,
because we haven't seen them since episode 4, and now we're in episode 8. It would be great to just get a quick. They are going back to the coalition to start to ramp up to what is going to be the main conflict of season 4.
I always love the finales, and I love seeing how they're going to leave it, and that's one of the things I'm most excited for. Of course, I'm excited for the Conquest fight, but I'm curious to see where they button up this season and what they tease.
One statement that I wanted to say, like after the predictions, was, listen, you did this entire episode and then you got mad at me when I wanted to say one thing.
I do.
You as the narrator, you
mute him, Ryan.
Mad.
You have the power.
People want to talk anyway. One thing that I was gonna say was that. If you better not have fucking muted me, I'll kill you.
I did it. I muted Bill.
Okay,
Is so funny.
That's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One thing that I wanted to say was alluding to what you had just said was Mark and Eve on the bridge, and Mark not telling Eve like how his feelings for her. Didn't we just fucking watch that? It felt like it just fucking happened. It was the finale of 2. It felt like it was like the other day.
Done. We're gonna be done with another season of Invincible.
That was less than a year ago,
or it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Just barely less than a year ago.
So we all had predictions of what we think is going to happen. I do have a prediction of someone we're not going to see. Rexplode.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Too soon? Too soon?
Yep.
I
Fuck you,
bet we do
TJ.
see him. I bet we do see him in some capacity.
All right,
We'll see.
guys.
All right.
So that is it. We have one more episode to go. Stay tuned for live streams, potential special guests. Who knows what's going to happen? Reactions to this episode, next episode. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave lots of comments. Again, you can write us at theinvinciblepodcast.com. If you want to go to probably the best superhero website in the universe, www.theinvinciblepodcast.com. Ryan updates that regularly with lots of cool stuff, so check that out as well. Yeah. So until next time, I'm Bill.
I'm Ryan.
and it's conquest time.
Let's go. Fuck you, Bill. Fuck
I thought you were on my team, Wyatt. That's okay. Bye.
Bye. How's that?
I'm so glad I was muted because I was like,
I lost it
that
at the
entire
first
thing.
poem, like at the first rhyme. I lost.
Yeah, the minute you said
when you said
minute you said
poem, I was like, oh no.
oh no, we're in for it.
I
Oh
will
my
say there
God.
was a part of me that was like,
Oh.
"Oh no, is it a serious poem?"
Oh my God.
But as soon as you made the first joke, I was like, "Oh fuck,
gosh.
this is
Oh
good."
my god. I honestly feel I laughed so hard I was gonna throw up.
Okay, good.
Oh.
I was nervous.